This is the 2018 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. It's the first all-new Mitsubishi we've seen in quite some time, and it's caused a little bit of a stir online, mainly due to its styling, but we'll get to that in a minute. The Eclipse Cross is a compact SUV, as you can see, and it's powered by a 1.5-litre four-cylinder turbocharged engine producing 110 kilowatts of power and 250 newton-meters of torque. That's sent to either the front two wheels or all four on the top-of-the-range Exceed model via a one-choice CVT transmission. Mitsubishi have also loaded this thing with equipment. Standard on even the base model include 18-inch alloy wheels, keyless entry with push-button start, power folding mirrors, a leather steering wheel, 7-inch touchscreen infotainment system, a reversing camera, forward collision mitigation, lane departure warning, adaptive cruise control, hill start assist, and automatic high beam. Whew. Pricing starts at $30,500 and goes all the way up to $38,500 for the top-of-the-range Exceed trim which we have today. And keep in mind, all of those prices include taxes and government charges. But back to its styling.
The front houses the now familiar and attractive Mitsubishi Dynamic Shield grille integrating into the front headlights. The side view also shows off more curves and creases in the bodywork compared to the ASX and Outlander, and also highlights the coupe-style sloping roofline.
But it's the back that has taken the center of attention. Ever since its launch, quite a few people have been comparing the rear styling of this to the Pontiac Aztek, a car hailed unanimously as one of the ugliest cars ever made, which is not something any manufacturer would aspire to. Now, Mitsubishi have done a much better job with this with the split glass tailgate, but it's definitely a polarizing look. What do you think of this styling? Of course, let us know in the comments. Up the front, Mitsubishi have never been known for making very attractive interiors, but they've done a great job with the new Eclipse Cross. Everything is exactly where you'd expect it, and the layout looks clean and modern. So, let's start our tour.
Here is the key. The steering wheel is leather wrapped, 3-spoke with controls for media on the left and adaptive cruise on the right. Over on the driver's door card, 4 power window switches, but only the driver's is automatic. Power mirrors with folding, and the door bins are large enough for standard size water bottles. Over on the instrument cluster, there's a relatively large color information display, which you can toggle through settings such as servicing information, trip computers, fuel, average fuel consumption, and average speed. Heading over to the center console, there's the 7-inch infotainment unit, which we'll get to in a second. Below, dual zone climate control, 2 USB ports with a 12-volt power outlet, and a tray to store your phone. But, as you can see, it's barely big enough for an average size smartphone. So if you have anything larger than my iPhone 8, which is most phones, it's not going to fit. 2 cup holders, electronic parking brake with auto hold, and the center armrest, the hand tray with additional storage. The armrest can't slide forward or lift up, so it's fixed in position. On our top-of-the-range Exceed trim, a color heads-up display is standard. It projects information onto a rising plexiglass and shows current speed, navigation, and the status of the safety systems. It's not as good as the ones that project directly on the windscreen, but it does make for a pretty good show every time you start the car. Driver and front passenger heated seats, and a control for the 4-wheeled system, which can place it either in snow, gravel, or you can choose it to decide by itself. Back to the screen, the interface is probably one of Mitsubishi's most modern. All the pages can be easily swiped through, like on smartphones and tablets, and it contains digital radio, an AM and FM tuner, and Bluetooth voice calling with music streaming. Connecting a compatible smartphone will also enable Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Annoyingly, and like we see on a lot of car manufacturers today, they're ditching the volume knob in favor of these touch controls. But at least they're relatively easy to use and they respond quite quickly. But what's probably the most interesting part of the system is this controller pad if you don't want to use the touchscreen. It's an almost direct copy of Lexus's remote touch system, which has been widely criticized for being too difficult to use, especially whilst driving. So I find it odd that Mitsubishi would copy it. One thing this doesn't have is any haptic feedback, so scrolling through, there's no response from the touchpad unless you click it. and scrolling through menus is slow and sometimes not very accurate, so I'd honestly just rather use the touchscreen. Driver sun visor, mirror with lights, but annoyingly it doesn't extend. Same for the passenger. And the star of the show, a dual pane sunroof. And what I like is that they put the controls for the rear portion here, so your rear passengers can decide whether they want to open or shut themselves. But keep in mind, only the front glass can actually physically open. Although we did have a few issues, which included that sunroof deciding to stop working midway through filming. And whilst build quality has drastically improved, there's still room for improvement. Space in the back is relatively okay in terms of legroom. I'm 6'3" or 190 centimeters. This seat is set up in my driving position with it all the way back in its rails, and I've still got enough legroom. The issue is headroom. Due to this sloping roofline and not helped by the fact we've got the panoramic sunroof, my head does hit the roofliner. So if you're my height, you probably don't want to sit in the back for too long. 2 map pockets. And also the door bins have bottle holders. 12-volt power outlet, but sadly no rear air vents. The center seat houses a relatively small armrest with 2 cup holders. The seats can also recline. And unusual for this segment, the bench can slide forward. So if you need extra cargo area but you don't want to fold the seats down, you can just pull the black lever and move it forward. And they go all the way up to the back of the front seats. You might have noticed that the rear headrests go up quite high, which is great for rear passengers, but if you're going to have all 3 of them up at once, and in combination with that split tailgate, then rearward visibility will be quite seriously compromised. Around the back, cargo area is listed at 341 litres, which is a decent size, but definitely not class leading. And with this sloping roofline, the usability is somewhat compromised. So if you're going to be hauling big boxes or lots of luggage, we definitely suggest bringing with the larger Outlander. Now those seats, which could slide forward, if they go all the way to the front, they increase room to 448 litres. The cargo cover can be stored further down. And 4 cargo tie-down hooks. Light with shopping bag hooks. And underneath the floor, there's a space saver spare. Rear seats can be folded down using their levers. But keep in mind they don't fold completely flat, and there's a little bit of a lip. To close, grab the handle, and you do have to give it quite a bit of a slam shut.
What surprised me the most, however, is just how quiet this thing is inside. It could put some premium brands to shame. Mitsubishi have done a very good job suppressing road noise. In fact, the only thing you can really hear is the air rushing around the wing mirrors. And that's the same for the engine and the gearbox. In fact, this is the first CVT I wouldn't mind owning, mainly due to the fact that any CVT droning or any rubber banding effect that you usually feel are all but gone. So well done, Mitsubishi.
At speed, the car felt planted on the road, while steering inputs felt direct and gave confidence to the driver. Power from the 1.5-litre turbocharged engine was also sufficient for overtaking and nipping into tight traffic. As expected, you sit high up, giving you a good view of what's in front, but due to the tapering beltline and roofline, visibility around the side is compromised, which means you'll be relying more heavily on the blind spot sensors and backup camera. So enjoy the next minute or so of unedited driving footage.
And that's a 2018 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross, a solid offering from the brand trying hard to put its past behind them. If you can get over the polarizing styling and you don't have the need to carry lots of cargo around, then the Eclipse Cross could be well worth a look. If you've enjoyed the video, give us a like and make sure you're subscribed to keep up with the newest videos. What do you think of the car? As always, let us know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.